Hi, I'm Jake. I decided to just do a quick video about, when I say quick, it's probably going to be however long, just about mental health. I apologise in advance because I have the most boring, monotone, deep voice. But yeah, anyway. So I've been living with mental health, depression for ever since I can remember, certainly since being a teenager. And I'd always attributed that uncertainty, the unknown to sexuality, and growing up as a gay guy, and feeling that it was wrong and not fitting in with society. And then as I grew older and older and older, possibly to sort of early 20s, was understanding that I was perfectly happy with sexuality. I was over anything that I felt was wrong with that, or the perception of society feeling it was wrong, and continued to have these problems. And as I get older and older, those problems seem to be getting worse and more intense and worse again. So I speak very openly about my experiences. I do social media posts. I talk openly about this sort of stuff at work. I do workshops around how we can support people in situations where they have depression and accessing our important services. I work for a Citizens Advice charity. So I'm quite familiar with talking about this sort of stuff, but never really this intense. Just me talking to the camera about my experiences, so do forgive me. But as I've said, my experiences came from early teenage years. I think there are a large number of factors that have impacted my mental health, but that's certainly for another occasion. But my first experience of going to ask for help was middle of last year, and it came as a consequence of my mental health getting worse, and as I said, feeling more intense, and just being tired of never really feeling like I'm just able to be in control of stuff. So, I'm still not over I can't plan to go and do things because I'll probably cancel. I can't get over the waking up in the morning and feeling just like I just really can't be bothered with anything. When I have no problem with things like work or whatever I was going to do, but just a deep feeling of depression that day that comes from nowhere, that isn't really necessarily triggered by something that I'm aware of. So I went to seek help, and part of this is why I wanted to do the video, is that even just trying to seek help was a massive barrier. So as someone who works full time, it's really difficult to try and engage with your GP about this sort of stuff. So a morning that you wake up, you're fresh, you're bouncing out of bed, you're ready to go to work, or you've got the day off, mental health is the last thing on your mind. You're just grateful to be having a positive, happy moment. So if I'm not at work, I tend to drive to Wales, have a day out, go somewhere else, have a day out. Now a boring National Trust member, I'll go and have an old person's day out somewhere. And then when you're feeling depressed and you can't face the world, you're not ready at 8 a.m. on the dot to fight the queue, to get through to your GP reception, to have the argument about why you feel like you need an appointment that day. So it took time to get to that point. Finally got to that point, and that was triggered by another person that I knew who went to seek help and felt like that was working for them. So I persevered and got that help, or at least tried. Went to see my GP, and I was in my suit, I was just about to go to work. It was a very early appointment, and their words after they explained my situation were just, I seem like a functioning person, I look after myself, I was presentable, I'm holding down a job, not much you could do for me. And that was it. There was no debate, no discussion. I gave them the benefit of the doubt, thought, right, whatever, I'll just go and see what happens. And the thoughts were just getting worse and worse and worse. I was driving on the M62 and just had this irrational thought of driving into a motorway barrier, driving into the back of a lorry, high speed, just coming from nowhere. Not from oh, I really hate my job or I really hate my life, just out of nowhere. I could be singing along to some stupid, cheesy song, and then something would just click, and that would be it. And then that impacts you for the rest of your day because you've had such a horrible, nasty, uncomfortable thought. And just the mere fact that you're in control of your actions is the only sort of sanctity, whatever the word is, just to sort of feel like what if I wasn't in control? What if this was just a moment then where I wasn't in control and that would have just been it? And it's stupid. So I went back to my GP, or asked to see a different GP at this point, who put me on medication. I'd been on medication for 6 months, and it was not for me. Weight gain, just not feeling anything really, but still feeling suicidal thoughts and still feeling depressed. So it just wasn't really working. So now I'm at the stage where it's just, you know, I actively seek out videos like this, which is partly why I've done one today. I try to see if other people are having similar situations. I try to understand possibly why I'm feeling some of this stuff, how I can cope with some of that stuff. So one of the biggest challenges I have is, so at the moment I'm a CEO of a citizens advice charity. Absolutely love the job. It's absolutely everything I want to do. It's to have an impact on our community. It's to make a difference, to make a change, to lead a positive, happy, energetic team who all do brilliant jobs. But there are still days where you get imposter syndrome, where you just feel like you're the worst person ever to have that job. Just fear and hate and are worried about everything. And it's irrational, as it just comes from nowhere, and it's just about trying to understand about other people having similar experiences, how I can try and cope and manage with those situations. So by having an organisation and a workplace that is flexible, so if you're waking up in the morning, you just need that extra hour to just get yourself together and face the world, that's something I try to encourage. It's something I try to do myself. Days where you just take a step back sometimes, where you are at work but you absolutely have to just think about your workload, all those sorts of stuff. And again, partly what I'm trying to put on the agenda nationally for workplaces. But one of the things I really struggle with is that irrational stuff. So I've quit jobs just before the probation period with the fear of, you know, I'm just dreadful and terrible and they're just going to get rid of me. And it can, and often hopefully is, just irrational and not true. But I don't give it the time to be proven wrong. So you then go for another job and they look at your career experience, or they look at your CV and say, well, he's only held down this job for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months. Why should we take you on? Because you might just leave in 6 months' time. And it's hard to have that conversation about the impact that mental health has on your day-to-day life and how you don't want it to, but it does. And you can't make someone a promise that you're then going to stay there for the rest of your life until you retire, when you know that it's incredibly unlikely. So I said, these sort of videos that I see other people do really help. We're massively encouraging people to talk openly about their mental health. But what we do know is that those conversations and those interactions have to be meaningful. So, you know, reach out to people that maybe have gone through similar situations to you. Go to a professional, go to some of the just fantastic charities such as Mind, who have dedicated services and support networks where you can reach out to people. But talk about it, be as open or as not as you want to be, but just understand that you're not alone, and more likely than not, someone else will have very, very similar situations. In fact, many of us will have similar situations, but we all deal with it in our own ways, and that's where we can learn. If some of this stuff is just what we have to live with and get on with, then let's learn from each other and let's take some ownership of it. Let's not let it affect and impact our lives as much as it has done. Regain control as much as we possibly can, because as I said, I massively have down days, but it's something you can't avoid. But if you can have some interventions that help you not have as many of them, or just deal with things in the way that you can, then we should encourage it. I'll possibly maybe do some more videos like this, but today I just felt like I wanted to just be a little bit open and try a video like this and see how it goes.